Greetings, family. Welcome to Pan-Africanism Towards Nationhood, building a global Black business pipeline. And greetings, family. Welcome to another one of our live shows. And this is Bomani Tyehimba of Africa for the Africans. And I'm here with Robert Brantley from Brantley Global LLC. And family, we have another incredible topic for you tonight, as we're here to talk about our continuous Liberia series, as we are getting ready to journey to Liberia for March 2024. So for the last year to 15 months, we have literally just had a whole lot of interviews and dialogues about Liberia, and Kala is usually on to where he has talked about Liberia in all different phases. So what we try to do is just get you different people on the program so we can continue the energy of our reconnection to Liberia. So I always want to talk to different people who have experience in Liberia, especially experience or just was familiar with anything that went on in the 70s or the 80s, and so we can just find out what was going on in Liberia historically and just keep sharing information. And everything is for a build up to get you connected to a modern day energy of repatriation, business investment, tourism, and reconnection to Liberia. So tonight's topic is Liberia vision for repatriation and Pan-Africanism. So that's our main connection. So yes, my good brother, welcome to Pan-Africanism Towards Nationhood. How you feeling today?
Good, Brother Bomani. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for joining us. And thank you for this being open to sharing information with us as far as your experience in Liberia. So I want to see if you can give us an introduction about yourself, and then also just let us know your connection with Liberia and historically, and then also what you plans and share information about the future of your interest in Liberia. And then
So,
we can
okay. So how much time do I have to talk about?
yes, we have plenty of time.
A lot.
Goal is to make it 45 minutes to an hour. But yes, in 20 minute spurts is fine, especially if you have a lot of information to share. But for now, you can start with a general introduction and then how you got into Liberia.
Sure. I think I'll start at Northwestern University graduate School of Business. I was there doing my MBA. Started in 1970 and finished in 72. So I received my MBA in finance 50 years ago at Northwestern. I finished the MBA and then went next door to the law school. At that time, Northwestern's law school was downtown in Chicago, and wanted to study some business law. And I enjoyed that for a year and a half, but during the middle of my second year, I was recruited by an organization called Center for International Management Studies, CIMS. CIMS was doing a national search for what they call a program developer, someone who could do some work in 8 African countries. And it involved providing some consultation and doing some research on the possibilities of some business and economic development in Senegal, Liberia, Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, okay, and Kenya. And so I couldn't resist the opportunity to work abroad, and specifically to work on the Africa continent. And I told myself that I would come back and finish law school after I did this work. Of course, I never did that. But I'm so happy that I took the opportunity, because I learned so much working in those countries, and I did a little good, I think. Um, we were able to develop some proposals along with local indigenous organizations, and developed several $1 million of project funding for different countries. So,
And can you also share with us some the timeline as we're talking about history and things? Is this in
the timeline?
yes, where all of this went on?
So I started my MBA in 70, finished in 72, went to law school, and was recruited in 74 to start that work. And I did it for only for maybe 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so that puts you in Liberia around 77, around that time frame in the
Oh, yeah.
70s, late 70s.
Yes,
Because Liberia was one of the countries that was a part of the different countries.
absolutely, absolutely. And of course, I would encourage, they haven't done it, if your people have not done some reading, some study, I would encourage them to do so, to read a little bit about Liberia, and to read some about um, how Europe underdeveloped Africa. In fact, that's the title of an excellent book by Walter Rodney, Rodney. I can't remember when he published it, Walter Rodney. It's not a very thick book, but he lays out the scheme of how Europe underdeveloped Africa. And of course, the United States was part of the deal, was involved in that, but had its own special um, sauce for underdeveloping Africa. And part of it was uniquely carried out in Liberia. And so we must understand how Liberia was founded. I don't want to go over material that your people might already know, but do you think they know?
We have a global audience, and some of the things need to be repeated. But the
Oh,
part that we can continue and build onto is the part about once you got to Liberia,
yeah,
and then what changed or how things were, and
yeah.
so if you have to go into certain conversations
Okay,
to give a better explanation,
yeah, yeah.
we don't ever want to assume that people know certain things. So
Okay.
sometimes we repeat a lot of things because it's different
Sure.
shows also.
Well, real quickly, Liberia was essentially established by America. It was established by America as a colony, really, a place to send American descendants of African slaves. Um, and
And then also the same thing too. Since we're talking historically, if you can also just share timelines of these things,
oh,
that way people hear the timeline as far as
well, I have to check my notes, but
the main timeline is 1822 as far as the
yeah,
resettlement. You can
that,
even start from there to
that's
just
close enough
things up.
because that's kind of when it started, and it's still going on in that. Um, First of all, the descendants of African slaves in America did not want to go back to Africa. Okay. That's still the case today. We pretty much don't want to leave our lives, our homes, our culture here in America and go to Africa, except on, a visit. We don't want to repatriate. And this was forced repatriation. So that's the first thing. And secondly, it was done for a specific reason, and it wasn't necessarily to develop Africa, but the organization that did it, I think it was some society of repatriation or something like that. Some white folks that wanted
American Colonization Society.
colonization society. Okay, you know this stuff. They really wanted to, and they were criticized because they really wanted to strengthen slavery in America. And one of the ways they were doing that was to essentially deport certain Americans that they didn't, I mean, Africans, descendants of African slaves that they no longer wanted, okay, um, and or didn't have a purpose for. And so it went hand in hand with their um, institution of slavery and white superiority and all of that. So it was never for our benefit or for Africa's benefit. And even today, um, there isn't a whole lot that we do from America that is for the benefit of Africans in Liberia, not to speak of descendants of African slaves in America that might be interested in going back. And so I'm saying all that to say, if you're interested, to the degree that you're interested in visiting, repatriating, investing in Liberia, you're going to have to do it yourself. Um, and the more of us who can organize to do it, the better. We'll get some lip service from the American government, the US government, in support of it. But we can't expect any real serious partnership from them unless and until we as Americans make a first move and really grab hands with my brothers and sisters in Liberia.
All right. Well, a quick question: how was it in the '70s versus now, as far as whether it's support from America or whether it's people more focused on corporative economics?
Yeah. I don't think it's any different. It's much different at all. Because there's no cooperative economics going on. There's some cooperative economic lip service that's always gone on. America has never not had good lip service toward Africa, but real profound, legitimate, long-lasting, self-sustaining investment in Africa has not really ever happened from the American side. And Africa needs sustainable investment. Doesn't need aid so much as it needs sustainable investment. So then and now, the needs are still the same. The people of Liberia are people who are getting to know better. Some folks say more better. What's really going on, what's been happening, and what's happening now, and how things must change. Social media has helped to inform our people. And so, what's reality today is that people want change. Change was wanted back then too, but there was less information and there was more confusion and misinformation. And so there was not a coordinated cultural impetus to from Liberia to really draw descendants of African slaves in America to Liberia, either as tourists or investors or people who will come back to live in the motherland. But now there is great opportunity, I do believe. And I've literally been at this for about 50 years. So, but I'm more hopeful now than I've ever been because of the exchange of information that's taking place, going both ways, and because of we've educated ourselves in spite of them. We've educated ourselves on both sides of the pond about some certain realities. The primary one being, if we want it done, we're going to have to do it ourselves, and that we're capable of getting it done. We simply have to get serious, change our mind, get serious, and take some steps. So I applaud your effort to even encourage people to go and visit and meet the people. And it's the land is Africa. There's nothing spectacular about the land. in Liberia, in fact, what's unique about Liberia is its position on the coast. And you probably know that Liberia is a shipping, um, well, no, let me not lie. Liberia does not ship so much as Liberia lets other people ship under the Liberian flag. I think there are 5,000 ships on the seas that fly the Liberia flag, but it's really just a kind of a hoax, and doesn't really benefit Liberia very much at all. It's another example of exploiting the geopolitical strategic location of Liberia on the coast. But because of its position and because shipping does go through Liberia a lot, what if we could develop some unique manufacturing businesses in Liberia so that products can be shipped, can be put on these ships, going in both directions, north, south, or east and west, but to Liberia is positioned to ship to the world if it had something to ship. Now, you probably know for centuries, actually, palm oil and rubber were exported from Liberia, also diamonds and iron ore. But those were colonialists, primarily from America, who were exploiting the country of its resources and shipping them out. But they didn't exhaust the resources. They're still there. That's true of all of the Africa continent, by the way. Nothing's been exhausted. So resources are still there, valuable resources. And Liberia government is stable, okay, because it's an extension of America. And all we need is for descendants of African slaves who are willing to go to Liberia and to connect and begin to research, find, even bring technology and opportunities for manufacturing. Liberia is not a very large country. I think it's only got 5 million people, maybe. That's pretty small. My neighborhood in Chicago had more than 5 million people. But still, they're smart people, they're hardworking people, like all Africans that I know. And like Deion Sanders said, they're smart, they're tough, they're fast, and they're disciplined. Okay, and that's a great combination. And they just need us, to bring our smartness and our toughness and our speed and our discipline and to connect with them. So where do you want me to go from there? You want me to just keep going?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the goal and the vision.
Okay.
To,
Because I'll preach to you. I'll try not to preach, but I'll try to teach. Okay.
yeah, you can also zero in on this, letting us know how Liberia was physically as far as in the 70s.
Well,
did you travel to the country at that time?
Yeah, and
And how was it compared to the rest of the African countries in the rest of the continent?
Monrovia is the capital, and it's the only real city, if you can call it a city, at the time in Liberia. It was small, a couple of major hotels. Ducor Intercontinental Hotel is the one that I recall. And there were just a couple of hotels that Europeans and American businessmen used for their business purposes. I don't know any place on the Africa continent that isn't interesting in its own way, you know, in terms of the beauty of the land, the beauty of the people, the beauty of the weather. It's all there. It's all there. So your people will see that when they visit, and that has not changed. The beauty in Africa has not changed. It's simply that I think the intellect has not changed. The people have always been brilliant, but now they're better informed, and they see things happening around the world that they think ought to be able to happen for them, and it should. Okay, so now that's why I said there's more opportunity because people are better informed. One of the things that I had the honor of doing is training the management staff for the Liberia Industrial Free Zone Authority, called LIVSA, Liberia Industrial Free Zone, LIVSA. And for those who may not know, free zones around the world are areas that the country has kind of identified and set aside as an area to generate business, to encourage investment and generate business. Here in America, we call them opportunity zones today. Okay, we've had enterprise zones before. So when LIVSA was established back then, Joe Richards was the head of that organization, and he brought me over to train his management staff, having met me as a result of my earlier work there. So it was again in the late 70s, early 80s. And LIVSA still exists. There's also, I think, a commission. They rearranged some things. There's also a Liberia Commission for Investment. And their purpose is to promote investment in Africa. In fact, I have something that's that they published from their website, 10 Reasons to Invest in Liberia.
And what is that website?
This is the National Investment Commission of Liberia, the NIC. And they, I'm trying to see what was, yeah. Oh, the print is so small. But it's the www.investliberia.gov something else / but it's the National Investment Commission. You can find it.
Yeah, it should be investliberia.gov.lr.
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting up in age. That little print is hard for me to see. But here are the 10 reasons they give to invest in Liberia. Political stability. It's always been there. Kind of, sort of. Because the United States has its hand in it and on it. Okay. And have kept the politics pretty stable, except there have been a couple of internal, people call them wars, but struggles, because people, the Nigerians, had different ideas of how to get rid of the American colonialists. But overall, the stability is great, political stability. No restrictions on the repatriation of profits. In other words, all the money you make in Liberia, you can bring to America.
So where exactly is this on the website? Is it on the website?
Yeah, it's I just printed this off under endless opportunities. Do you see it?
I'm right here on the website. These are the.
Okay. And I didn't print off the whole thing. I just wanted to get those.
Do you remember where you got it from the website? All right, there we go. 10 reasons to invest in Liberia. I see it.
You see it? Okay.
Right here on the screen. Yeah, I know the screen may be a small.
Okay. So stability, no restriction on repatriation of your money, the dual currency regime, which means they accept the U.S. dollar, but then they have a Liberia dollar. It's the same, pretty much. Low-cost labor. There's always slave labor involved. They call it low-cost labor, but it's slave labor. Abundant natural resources, and that's true. Access to regional markets throughout West Africa, absolutely. Access to international markets through their shipping, okay. A favorable tax system, and I don't know the particulars of that right now. Guarantee against unfair expropriations. That is, if you establish a manufacturing plant in Liberia, you're pretty much protected from it being taken away from you as a private owner. And prohibition against discrimination. Yeah, right. So, these are good reasons that they list. My reasons don't deviate from those very much, except that I think the important reasons are that the people are awakening and perhaps have been awakened, and now they're learning and they're getting motivated. If you want people to move and do something, you inform them, you educate them, and then you agitate them, and then you can motivate them. And so people have becoming educated, and now they're getting agitated. And I think we need to agitate them more, okay, in a positive way to get motivated to do something. Those are the real reasons to invest in Liberia. And in addition to the political stability there is kind of a growing political desire in America to do better in Africa. Okay, at least the Democratic Party wants to do better. And that's because Russia, China, okay, and a couple other countries are making more headway in Africa than is in the best interest of Africans or Americans, certainly African Americans. And so we need more pushback, and we're getting it. The American government is now, trying to think better, do better. Vice President Kamala Harris was there not too long ago. Didn't make a big imprint, but she'll learn. And as the administration gets more serious, and as we, descendants of African slaves in America, put more pressure on the U.S. government to do better towards Africa. And Liberia is a great place to get it on, because it's kind of us, Descendants of African slaves established that country. And now we have descendants of African slaves still in America that need to get with our brothers and sisters, our former descendants of African slaves, and the actual Liberians who never were slaves in America. It can be a powerful thing.
Absolutely. And that's what this journey of a lifetime is about: reconnecting stolen Africans and reconnecting also our ancestral energy, and just building something that we could build onto the future. So that's why we're working with this journey as tourism investment, and the tour is to get us introduced into the country and get us also this connected to basic history, culture, and just get our minds open, and then also share investment information at our business and investment conference, and information about repatriation, living and doing business in the country. That is the foundation that we're looking to present and share with our audience and people of interest out there. So that is what we're going to be building on, and looking to this, build it from the ground up and get it going. Right now, it doesn't look like Liberia is very popular with tourism at this moment, but that's what we're building on to for the future. So we're working with a lot of different people, and the goal is to just build something to where we can offer more of an option for our brothers and sisters from that live in the Americas that's looking to move to Africa, and maybe they're looking for something a little more similar to America, or something a little simpler to make a move. You know, some of these countries can be difficult. Some people get like literally this culture shock when they get there. It's like you're no longer in Kansas anymore. Situation. Welcome to Africa.
Yeah. And this is true. And there are some places in Africa, many places that are just worth visiting just to visit. Okay.
Oh yes, exactly. Don't make it home. Don't make it home. Just go visit.
Yeah, Lake Victoria. It's just worth visiting just to visit, and there are many other sites. But I want to encourage your people to visit with a purpose. Tourism with a purpose. The purpose being investment. Okay, the purpose being to look for opportunities to connect with African people and establish businesses, perhaps jointly. I would say absolutely jointly with them. This whole idea of being a black or brown, colonist is, no better than European colonists. But if you go with the idea, with the heart, and with the resources to join hands, partnership, really partnership with our people, let the workers participate as owners in your business. There are even some Africans who have resources to invest with you. Don't trip, because there are some Africans that have some money, okay, and some resources. They just don't have even their own land. They don't have the opportunity to invest themselves. The global banking system and everything else mitigates against their independence. So they kind of sit. There are many Africans that are sitting on their resources, and would, I believe, gladly join hands with African Americans who seriously are interested in establishing business partnerships. So the investment must be with Africans in Africa. And I think your tourism ought to be with investment in mind, okay? Because the most beautiful thing you're going to meet in Africa is our people, okay? Your brothers and sisters, and the strength and the resilience and the beauty and the joy that's in our people. That's going to encourage you more than Lake Victoria, okay, or other sites that can be seen, that's worthy of being seen. So I guess I'm just trying to. The reason I was interested in your movement and in doing this video with you is to encourage that tourism with a purpose.
Yes, exactly. Tourism with a purpose.
Right. Okay. And that purpose being, I'm going to say investment, because investment honors people. When you invest with people, you honor people. You see, it means you see them. It means that you value them. It means that you believe in them. It means that you're willing to have a joint future. And so, investment is not just to make money. Investment is a way to love. Okay. And if you don't love your people, then go to France. Or maybe you're from France. I don't know. If you don't love Africans, if you don't love Africa, don't go.
Absolutely, and that's
it's just me.
And that's the energy of what we have. So what we have advised people to do is, the best thing to do is to stay in America where you have your comfort. If you're going to go to all the different countries that you already know, and because the word is out, you're not looking at the same infrastructure what you have in America.
Right.
So these are things you can either adjust to, or you can spend the extra money to live the level of comfort that you're looking for, which is which is going to cost you in Africa. So if you, and that's what I'm trying to explain to people, because people say certain things like, okay, well, the cost of living in California has gone up. And so, yes, I understand. So, yes, the cost of living in Africa is less. But if you really want what you really want, it's up there in the same. It's up there in comparable prices.
Yeah.
Especially if there's certain places like in different parts of Africa where it's just regular. There's no AC and there's no hot water. It's just the house is just. That's how some of the homes are built, and especially in the rural areas.
Yeah.
And then if you want some of those things in the city, and if the cost is going to be up there.
Yeah.
But those are some of the modern convenience that you may be used to as a standard way of life. But in some cases, it's not standard in another country. It's more of a luxury, and luxury costs. So, and then this understanding that your mindset, your culture, certain food, certain things are different, so you have to be open to adapt. I'm not saying that you have to just completely transform, but these are things that you have to be open to. So what we're looking to do is bridge an energy when we take you on this Liberia journey, get you connected to things that are familiar, get you connected to a history that's is connected to you, and make it as much as about us as possible as a people, and building that relationship and reconnecting, and then just getting a feel of the country. And it's not something we tell people that they need to move and buy land and get into business. But the only thing we ask is that, just process everything in your mind, because you may know other people that eventually may be someone that will come to the country and literally invest and build their future business empire or business enterprise. So these are the things that we're sharing with, because a lot of times proper information don't get around enough to where our people are connected and are educated correctly. So a lot of ignorance just get carried on from generation to generation. So what we're looking to do is break that end that cycle and say, hey, let's open our minds to living and doing business and investing in Africa beyond just doing what we was doing at one point, which is just tourism.
Yeah.
And while we're doing tourism, other people are doing tourism also, but then you have other nations and race of people that are heavily invested in the country. So over the period of time, when people come to certain places, like certain parts of Africa, like where we are here in West Africa, since we're talking about Liberia, you're gonna see a stronghold energy of who I'm forgetting these folks' name, Lebanese. For some reason, I couldn't get up. Lebanese, and then if you're there in East Africa, you see a high percentage or population of Indians. And so you tell them, when people ask me these questions, I'm saying, hey, you know what? It would be nice if more of us would be interested in living in different countries and doing business there. But since we don't show much of an interest, then other people take that void and see those great opportunities. Because last I remember, Black people live on the most incredible part of the planet, where it's always warm, and it's tropical paradise for those from East Africa, West Africa, all the way down to the Caribbean islands, all the way across, everywhere that represent Black nations. That's primarily what you're gonna get. And
So, and everything you say is true. And don't forget that, if you visit with the purpose of investing, if it's a business purpose, every penny you spend on your trip is deductible, tax deductible in America, by the way. Okay. But what I wanted to suggest also is that, you don't have to go to Africa to find poverty, destitution. You can visit Sugar Ditch, Mississippi. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. You can go down to Mobile, Alabama. All right. You may not want to go to Louisiana or Florida. And AACP said we should stay out of Florida. But what I'm suggesting is that if you are African American and all you know is St. Louis, or you know Chicago, or colder climes, go do some business with some of our brothers and sisters down in the South. We got a lot of people down there. Matter of fact, most of us are down there. And there are opportunities to invest in America with descendants of African slaves. Okay. So practice, not only the exchange of climate and culture, but practice collaborating with local, domestic descendants of African slaves. And that might prepare you for visiting and investing with the descendants of African slaves who were planted in Liberia, along with the local people. And by the way, against both of them's wills. The local people didn't want us, and the people, our brothers that they sent over, didn't want to go. So it wasn't an agreement, you know.
I was trying to get a clarity of this situation. I'm trying to put us in a timeline and put us in the location where we are.
Okay.
So from America, from the American part, what percentage of the of our ancestors were freed, and what percentage of them were just former slaves? Because I'm sure all of them weren't all slaves, and I'm sure all of them weren't all free. Because I guess at that point, some people are born free and some people are still born as slaves. And so I guess there had to be some kind of mix of people that.
There was a mix, and in all cases where Europeans or white Americans have attempted to colonize, they always have a class of Black folk to manage the other Black folk. So you had a strata, okay, of people that were sent over there, and then they carried out the master's will.
Well, was it that deep? It's because it seemed like a setup based on what you were saying.
It was a setup, my brother. It was a setup.
So America assisted because they wanted to get rid of as many of us as possible, and this was one option.
This was one option.
I was trying to get things really clear.
Right, and because of the strategic location of Liberia, it served a purpose. A lot of the shipping, there's a lot of shipping going back and forth to America. And so Liberia has more ships flying its flag than any other country on earth, except for, I think, Panama. Okay. And so just imagine. And what do we know about Panama? It's probably maybe not as poor as Liberia, but it's not a great bustling place. So Panama and Liberia are number one and number two for shipping. Okay. They're called, what are they called? I had it somewhere. Flag states. Okay. They're flags of convenience, FOCs. Okay. They simply are used and abused, by the way, by the global shipping industry. And America's a big player. Okay. So, yeah, America's always had strategy. Okay. When our people were brought to America in the beginning, it was a strategy. Okay. And they worked that thing. They worked it well. And so establishing Liberia was an extension of that strategy. And now,
basically, America didn't really help much.
Well,
it had the basic foundation and the setup.
Yeah, it didn't have the intent of helping the Liberian people.
They didn't help them to really establish a country to where they can live comfortable.
Right.
Everyone is clear.
Yeah, one of the reasons you know that is that the existing infrastructure in Liberia is practically non-existent. Okay.
Wow.
The last couple of 3 decades, it's improved. So when you don't have roads and bridges and electricity, and if you don't have electrical power, and transportation, then you don't have infrastructure. If you don't have infrastructure, you can't develop. Period. Stop. Okay. So there never was a real intention to develop Liberia and to develop the Liberian people. The roads that existed were primarily used by was it Firestone, that company that exported, that took all that rubber from Liberia, and the palm oil people and the diamonds people and the iron ore. Those were the primary valuable resources that were taken out of Liberia. So there were roads for that purpose. And then the port was developed as a world-class port, at least it was. I think it still is. And but again, even the company, there's a company that, while you're pulling stuff up, you're good at this. Liberia's maritime program, the Liberian registry, is where all those 5,000 ships are registered that go all over the world. That was established and is owned and operated by a company in Virginia. Okay. That I doubt that any Black folks have anything to do with. And they have offices all over the world to promote the Liberia registry. So even that strategic advantage that Liberia has not benefited Liberia. You following me? That's not an accident. That's strategic. Period. So we need to change the strategy. We need to insert ourselves. And I'll tell you, there's a movement in America called DAS, the Descendants of African Slaves. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
It's about ADOS.
Yeah.
I got one of their trolls here that's always literally just always harassing us. So let me play some.
Okay.
It's a bunch of them. They're always in the chat, and
why
I'm almost 100% of them disagree with what most of the things that we talk about on this show, which is repatriation and building that connection from America to Africa, and creating and taking advantage of unique opportunities in Africa before all the foreigners and the rest of the world take advantage of it, and then working more in a connection with the people that we have on the African continent, and get to know and learn and work with your own brothers and sisters based on this building their experience. So people think we're crazy, and so I'm gonna post some of the comments, and I don't take it personal, as long as they don't cross certain lines. But whenever people make certain comments, we use it as a way to actually have a discussion on.
Sure. Well, it's important. It's important. I mean, we are an African people, but we don't all think the same.
There you go.
About everything. Okay.
It's like this is the ADOS person. She believed ADOS invented everything. So good luck. Liberia is nothing spectacular. Accountability non-existent. So basically, I think people are part of a generation where, if you're in your 30s and your 40s, you saw certain things as far as the Liberian Civil War when you're a teenager in your young adulthood, and so people don't look past things that some of them don't. So that some of them think that you're going to the same country. But I'm always telling people that remember Rwanda in 1994. It's a whole different world now, and so on and so on. It's unfortunate, but this is the struggle that some countries go through. Independence, civil war, and then nation building.
Right.
And after all your struggles, you figure it out. You pick the pieces up, and you realize that that none of this should have ever happened, but it happened. So we need to piece up and build for the future, and then make sure ultimately that we put all things in place to where these things never happen again. Always the best thing about it, and hopefully that some people can forgive each other and move on for the benefit of the country and the people. So we see the vision of Liberia and the opportunity. So we're just trying to learn as much and process as much and analyze as many things as possible. And then,
okay. So I'm not familiar with this organization, ADOS.
Oh, I thought you saw about Africa.
No, I was talking about
American. This,
DAS.
these people are uh, American descendants of slave, not
Yeah.
African descendants. American. That means that some of them saying that that
Oh, is that
all of
right?
their ancestors are from America and not from
American
Africa.
descendant of
It's
slaves.
it's very interesting.
I'm sorry, but it looks like a European lady up there.
Yeah, people. I mean, the thing about these trolls, they do different names, they do different things, and their goal is to just like, and so I look at the questions, and almost most of the questions are not even things I would post, but I'm
Yeah,
looking at one or two of them trying to find an intelligent questions because you always know that not everyone is a troll that's listening, and if they are a troll that's listening, they must be listening for a reason. Maybe they figure they might end up learning something.
they just might. They might end up learning something, but more than likely, they're just trying to disturb or destroy what you're trying to do. Okay.
Yes, and some of them are very entertaining.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
help the same people who ancestors sold theirs?
Mm,
Americans aren't moving to Liberia. America is their home. MLK Jr. and Frederick Douglass said they aren't African.
mm.
How true is that? Did MLK and Frederick Douglass really said that?
I doubt. I
It's-
don't think
Sometimes these people make stuff up.
so. Okay. I don't think so.
I'm telling you, it's never a dull moment.
Yeah. Now we are an African people. That's where we're from. Um, in America, we are descendants of African slaves. And what's unique about Liberia is that Liberia was formed by or with descendants of African slaves from America. So we have actually a connection that I think we should not ignore. It's not that we're not connected to other African countries as well. Clearly, when I was in Nigeria, first time I went to Nigeria, man, I walked down the street of Lagos. I thought I was meeting my uncles, and my aunties and stuff. I mean, so I know that that I'm part Nigerian. I know I am because the people, they're my people. They're my relatives.
I thought he was about to say he did a few DNA tests.
Well, I've never done that. I've never done that. I might do it sometime, but when I
It's
walk
a
the
popular
streets of
thing people are doing now. They got someone's very
Lagos,
they got some really reasonable packages online.
yeah, yeah,
But I don't really ever know how to take it. But you
yeah.
know,
Um,
most of what people have told me and most of what I've seen and what we have all done, it comes back to the same. It just shows that we're all from West End, Central Africa.
Mostly, yeah,
Like so, based on all the countries. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, walking.
And then other than the people who like, there's the new wave of people saying that we were here,
Mhm,
and that is another one. This YouTube stuff is incredible. It's just anyone can just come on and then they can create something and build a following.
mhm,
So and I'm
mhm.
sure some people were, of native tea, and some people are mixed with certain native blood. But to just have this whole population of people that start claiming these things, I'm
Yeah,
like, what y'all trying to run from Africa? You don't want to deal with Africa, you
yeah,
know? It's fine, it's fine if you don't want to go to Africa, but I guess that's what they're doing. They're telling you that you're from here. Forget about all that stuff about Africa.
yeah,
And I'm telling people we literally forget about Africa, and then we'll forget about our greatest connection ever, or reconnection,
yeah,
because at that point the rest of the world will be consolidated and strong together,
yeah.
and we'll
And
just be
we'll be
left as
done.
victims.
Be done. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we forget Africa at our own peril. Okay, literally at our own peril. Um, and I know the cost of living might be different here or wherever, but the cost of not living in concert with African people and the continent of Africa is very high for us Africans who live in America. We can't continue to live disconnected from the motherland. If we do, we will be eventually, I think, exterminated in this country. Okay. And there are people who are very committed to putting us back in chains and sending us somewhere, wherever. Okay, they can't figure out how to get it done, but it's in their heart. It's in their spirit. I think there's 15 or 20% of Americans want to exterminate African Americans. That's my belief, and I think there's great evidence to show that, because, well, we've had great people do research that will underwrite that thought. So, but we also need to connect better in America. Okay, we need to connect better in America. You know, we used to have a saying. Well, this is a Pan-African saying. You know, act locally but think globally. Okay, act locally but think globally. What you do or don't do with another African American in your local community not only impacts, but is impacted by the reality of Africa as our homeland. And, you know, if many countries in Europe, people who live here can have dual citizenship, you know, dual passports and stuff, and they're Italian Americans or whatever. But we don't have, you know, dual citizenship in Africa, in African countries. And, you know, we have to remember now, Africa is not a country, it is a continent. But, and we should do that. We should have that. We should establish that. We should push for that. When I did my MBA 50 years ago at Northwestern, the first Black man who was there, Harry, I'll name him, Harry Akande, from Nigeria. And Harry became a billionaire, of course, doing business between Africa and America. But oh, there's a handsome young man there that had hair on his head at one time. So why did you put that up, brother?
Yes, this is just sharing whatever we do. We just share our
okay.
information.
All
We
right.
share what we do with people,
Yeah.
and let everyone know that we're in a Pan-African world and we're into business, enterprising,
Yes.
building organization,
Yeah.
and making it work from America to Africa, Africa to America, and
Yeah.
trying to build that energy and getting more people
Yeah.
interested in this. And people know that we're out here, building the foundation, building a formation to where we can just build on something and get it
Okay.
right, because
Okay.
most of us is our first generation into
Okay.
business and into Africa at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you
So
putting
we have
that
a
up.
long way to go. So if you can just share about what we're looking at in detail.
Yeah. So this is my web presence. I don't have a lot of information there. I just want to encourage people to contact me if they're interested. All my contact information is there. But Brantley Global this should be scrolling. It should be moving. Brantley Global is really a hedge fund. It's a global macro hedge fund that focuses on qualified opportunity zones in America, but does other things in other places. So I am what some people would call financial engineer. I provide financial advisory services and wealth management services. My preference is to focus on Black Americans that have money. Don't have to be a whole lot of money, but have some money and an entrepreneurial spirit. Okay. And a desire to work in community with other Black Americans, to do business in America, but to do a lot of business with Africa. And I have contacts actually around the continent, people who are doing things. There would be, some of them are African Americans, some are just Africans with resources. We're trying to find ways to pull that together. The hedge fund, I don't know if you people know much about hedge funds. The hedge fund is my primary instrument for pulling finances together. And underneath the hedge fund can be there are many elements of what I call a financial ecosystem that includes banks and insurance companies and other things that the hedge fund feeds. So there's not a lot of detail about it there. There's some information, but people who are interested should contact me, and I'm happy to meet, and talk to anybody, share information with anybody who shares my vision. Okay.
And there you go, family. That is the contact details and the
Yep.
website details.
Yep. So my email, my phone number, that number is my cell. You call that number, you get me. It'd be best if you text me first, let me know who you are, because I won't answer my phone if I don't recognize your number.
Absolutely, family. Got to
Yeah.
communicate strong. So definitely, Robert, appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience in Liberia and your vision and your analysis, so we can just get a better feel. And just want to close things out. And if you have more to share, you can definitely share. But wanted to get your final, final thoughts of everything that we talk about.
I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you. I love what you're doing and trying to do. Please know that you're in my prayers and the people that are supporting you. And I'm open to communicate. I'm open to share. I'm open to learn, and willing to help. Period. May God bless you.
Yes, definitely. I appreciate your energy and thank you for this.
Yes, sir.
Really, just going over certain things, and you and I was talking about Liberia, so we have all information up on the site. Just always want everyone to know. Once you get to our website, africafortheafricans.org, it is all there as far as the tour information. Just click on Liberia tour link, and then follow through with the details. Trying to encourage people to read itineraries and overviews and details, and also to be prepared and not get caught into where you do everything at the last minute. So that's what all this preparation energy is for. So family, that's our website with the big, beautiful Africa for the Africans Tours and Investment banner. And what you see right there is a presentation. So once you scroll down, you'll see the tour information and all the supporting details and documentation, including all the journeys that we have traveled to in Africa. And then you can always visit our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram page just to see highlights of just us in photos and videos in Africa, around in different countries, us socializing, us enjoying a different experience. So that's what we have done. And so you see a gallery right in front of you that says 17 years of the journey of a lifetime. And that is just us showcasing the beauty of Africa. So I always want to tell people that make sure that they're clear about what they're looking at when they look at information from Africa. Some people don't want you to see beauty, paradise. Some people see chaos and things like that. So, that's why I'm always telling people that what we do is just do our own documentation and presentation, so we can just give you a feel. And then we're in the country, these are all photos in the different countries, and just us out and about, us doing different things. And, we're safe, we're in good energy. Yeah. So, yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to go. May I ask?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I appreciate you, and I thank you for joining us, and take care, and I'll connect back with you.
And however you pray, please pray for people in Libya
Yes,
who are drowning by the thousands. Those are Africans too. Okay.
You said Libya, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I wish you had a chance to give us some short, quick synopsis, but I know you have to go, so we can always continue another time also.
But flooding is killing them by the thousands. Okay.
Wow.
How do I sign out, brother?
Yes, you can just close out your browser or close out your link. So yes, family, this is us on our website, africaforafricans.org, and you're seeing all these incredible photos. And this is our wonderful experience in Africa. So same thing we're going to do when we take you to Liberia. We're going to just take you to wonderful, incredible places where you can just enjoy tropical paradise, and also where you can learn about the roots and culture. We'll get into a little bit of business and investment networking. Got some fun stuff for us, pool parties and photo shoots on the beach, and just tropical exercising, and just us just enjoying the beauty of the country. So the itinerary and other details are laid out. So family, what we're going to be doing right now is close out, and I look forward to sharing more information with you as we keep on building our playlist of information and talking to different people with experience in Liberia, people who live there, from there, people who have done business there, people who are looking to go there, and just keep sharing information. So appreciate everyone joining us on another episode of Pan-Africanism towards nationhood. And on this session, looking forward to sharing with you more of the Liberia vision and looking to do more of these things. So family, if you have someone that is a good connection from Liberia and they're open to talking and connecting with us, please reach out. What you see is my information, email address, phone number, website, so you can reach me at any time. Family, once again, thank you for joining us. I'm going to close out with some light music, and the journey continues. Sam Cover Bird, taking it back to the roots.
The African Republic of Ghana regained her independence from colonial forces under the careful leadership of the Honorable Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Blessed by His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie, Kadamawi, Kadamawi, Kadamawi. Hey, hey!
Return to the roots. Come get your truths and your blessing. Son, go forward. A message in the lesson. Return to the roots. Come get your truths and your blessing. United we stand, and we standing strong. From the examples of Ghana, got to be working together. Black star, black generation. Ice, gold and green. Life, color, life, liberation. There can have been cross. Symbols from creation. It was a sun, cold, bird. A message in the lesson. Return to the roots. Come get your truth and your blessing. Son, go bird. A message in the lesson. Return to the roots. Come get your truth and your blessing. Return to your roots and get your blessing. Return to your roots and get your blessing. Return to the roots and get your blessing. Return to your roots and get your blessing. The call and response. Rhythms of djembe and kete. Sounding far and distance. Regenerating vibration. From corner to curb. The million voices are heard. It was a sun called for bird. A message in the lesson. Return to the roots. Come get your truth and your blessing. Sun called for bird. A message in the lesson. Return to the roots. Come get your truths and your blessing. Return to your roots and get your blessing. Return to your roots and get your blessing. Return to the roots and get your blessing. You must return to your roots and get your blessing. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Return to the roots. Come get your truths and your blessing. Stand